Well, we're going to talk about something that everybody loves to talk about, especially
me.
yes, tonight.
We're talking about food.
We're going to talk about food, but
Welcome to our food podcast.
this is the food talk, the food conversation. But the reason we are talking about this tonight is because of the timing of this. Is that we just launched our beef out to the world, Didier Ranch, as you guys have seen here. We've been teasing it for months. It's been a labor of love for the last year for me, but honestly, it's been a labor of my family's legacy for the last 120 years. And so tonight we're going to talk about food and why it's so important, but why this is so important to us. We love food. I've loved food, and my favorite.
I obviously love food.
Well, I can tell. You know why? Because
I've been eating a lot of Didier Ranch beef lately.
you love our steaks, and that's why I love steak. It's my favorite.
What's your favorite cut of steak?
I mean, honestly, it's really hard to beat a darn good ribeye. So it's like, because it's got the
good marbling.
Good, and when it's really nicely, not a prime marbling, and in between of like, it's like upper choice, because I don't like it too fatty. But if you can get a nice, just really clean marble throughout on a good 18-ounce ribeye, I like mine about inch cut. I don't like them too thick.
Yeah.
They're really hard to cook when they're like those 1.5-inch cuts. To me, that's my favorite cut of ribeye, and I can sit here and talk about steak all day. 'Cause my other favorite cut it's the cheaper cut is a round steak, but when we chicken fry it like Grandma and Mom always did, mashed potatoes and gravy.
I was going to go pick up some round steak after we're done with this.
Oh yes, you are.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. We got some extra
some Didier Ranch
leftover round steak for Jarrett, but we want to talk about because you all now know that that's a huge thing that we're doing. It's a huge part of our business, and we feel so blessed. That we get to do it because it's something that, again, it's a huge part of our legacy, but it's a huge part of the Bible. It's a huge part of humans. Food has always been part of our story.
Yeah, it brings people together.
It does, and it's like something you love to do. You've always loved to bring food together, right?
I used to do a cooking show on my Snapchat.
You did, yes.
And I would invite people. I would like, hey, if you're in town, come on over. I got plenty of food, and I lived in a college town at the time. And I would have people show up, my friends, and just random people sometimes, but
you were like feeding the poor, feeding the homeless,
I was poor, and I was feeding the poor.
The poor feeding the poor. And then what I loved about Jared's series there, because like people, my relatives in California, a lot of people just like loved it because it was very entertaining. Maybe we got to bring it back now.
Hey.
Maybe bring it back. Cooking with Gate Bart.
My wife actually said something about that last night.
She did?
Yeah, she said, you should do like a cooking show.
There you go.
And I said, well, I might have to.
Well, you
want to be my cameraman?
You should just start. You should just start like when you're grilling or doing your smoke stuff, or even at home. Just like people don't ever see that from you.
So and that's one of my favorite things to do.
You should do it.
Sitting behind the grill.
Because it's like a labor of love that you probably learned from our grandma. My mom's the same way. Yeah. Our grandma's always been the same way, and we know her mom was the same way. So it's just very innate.
Yeah,
in us.
I've always thought that. Like I like to have company over to the house, and I like to take care of people. I like to cook for them and have them like, oh, you like my food? You know, it's one of the greatest things I get to do for other people.
Yeah,
is you get to cook. And honestly, I'll tell you a little secret. When I'm cooking, I normally don't taste my food until I sit down to eat it.
You just trust yourself.
I just a little bit of this, a little bit of that, boom, 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 boom. Now I'm not gonna lie, I have
messed up time too.
Yeah, a few meals I've put a little too much stuff in there, but I would say 99% of the time.
So good and tasty.
On the chef's kiss,
yeah, bon
like the emoji.
The salt bay. I don't think he's a thing anymore.
No, but honestly, it's a huge part of, think about like everything we talk about, agriculture, farming, bringing food, providing for people. Yeah. That whole concept of that, and like what my family's done for 120 years is produce crops, beef for people. And it's a huge part of our world, and it's a huge part of the soul. You know, because we're hungry all the time, whether it's for gospel, whether it's for entertainment, for food, for friendship, for relationships. Like, that's what we're always hungry for something. You know?
I like that. Like, we are hungry.
We are.
We're not just for food, but for other things. But
all the time.
Like the most thing you need is the Spirit of God in you. You're really hungry for that, and that will fill you up more than any food ever could.
You need to fuel. That's the fuel, the ultimate fuel to keep you going.
Oh, definitely.
And everything else will. But yeah, definitely get some Didier Ranch because that'll keep you going. And honestly, that's what to me, the coolest part about doing all this now is like we're taking our family's business that we've had for 120 years And we're using it in the business that we've created over the last 3.5, 4 years. I mean, we've been making videos since we were...
before we ever made a dime, we were making videos.
Oh, man, Manstand. That's a throwback. No one will know. That video has been lost.
We can't even find that video.
That was our very first video. I think
it.
I was like 15 and you were 14 or 13.
Yeah, 13 probably.
Yeah. It's a classic, though. It kind of resembles a lot of the content we make.
It is very similar. It's like we took the same formula from over 15 years ago. We're still doing the same thing.
If it ain't,
a lot better camera, though.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
That's true.
Just like beef. Like beef has been, if it's done right, it's been part of the world.
By the way. Yeah.
It is though.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree.
It's if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And because in the Bible, it talks about eating and beef and land. It talks about all different types of food, throughout the Bible.
Yeah, there's rules and stuff, but for the most part, God says to nourish yourself.
Nourish yourself. Yeah. And what did He say about why we have animals?
Yeah, it says in Genesis, right out the gate, first deal, God talking. He says, "Every moving thing that lives shall be food for you. And as I give you the green plants, I give you everything."
He told us right there, right in the very beginning, that everything I give you, everything that lives, is for you.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of people, we get attacked a lot from a certain community. And sorry if you're out there and you watch our conversations, we're not attacking you back, but we do get attacked by this community a lot because like you're murderers, all this stuff. They have life, they have soul. Yeah, but everything on this earth has a purpose, and we value that life to us too. Like our animals are taken care of in the most humane. They probably have better lives than like I'd say 90% of the world.
Oh yeah, like those cows out there are having a pretty good time.
Yes,
trust me.
Yes, and they look really good when we take them, and then even where we process them at is these. They're the most humane way they handle everything. We can't show that obviously, but the way they provide and take care, because they don't want the animal being stressed when it comes in there. Because number one, that just creates a mess.
It's inhumane, yeah.
But also it's like they don't realize when you stress out an animal, they can taint the meat too.
Yeah.
So like why would you want to do that to an animal and be mean to him, whatever, like when that's not going to create the best value of what God had him here for,
It is crazy to think that like so many people out there believe that farmers are just like, I don't know, they keep them as slaves and stuff that they've said before, like those cows, they're just so mistreated.
Yeah.
Like you said, the cows, they have a pretty good life.
Yeah. Yeah. They eat all the time.
I'm sure if we open the window, they're sitting out there just chilling.
That's why they
kicking dirt up on their back.
That's why they just come up to us and film and like, what are these yahoos doing over here? Yeah. But that's honestly, it's like, food is a huge part of our culture. It's a part of every culture. If you look, that's why we have Mexican food, we have Asian food, you can say Kansas City barbecue. You could like every culture, every subculture, every region has their thing. In Oklahoma, we love our steaks. We love beef production.
Yeah, like you were talking about earlier, chicken fried steak.
Yes.
Which chicken fried steak is
steak.
It's beef.
Chicken fried chicken is chicken.
Yes.
Chicken fried steak is because it's fried like chicken. Fried.
What do you call it? Cube steak. What did you say earlier?
Round steak.
Round steak.
Yeah, round steak's usually the cut that's used, the round cut of the calf. But
I think that's the official meal of Oklahoma or something.
It is the chicken fried steak. It is, and that's why I think I love it too. Yeah. But every culture has this and has their regions and what they favor. Other thing, Brahms Dairy.
Yeah,
they provide milk for us, and they make the best ice cream. I would argue anybody out there. I would probably fight you physically.
Is that a threat?
And maybe spiritually for sure. But Brahms is the best ice cream, and I've lived in other places in this country. Brahms is the best ice cream on the face of the earth. And for the price. Tell me where you can go and get, and everyone's like, oh, they raised their prices. I'm like, go get you some ice cream in California. Yeah. That'll cost you $7 for one scoop.
Yeah. You give me a peanut butter shake. Ooh, and you know what else they got? Brahms has some good burgers.
Their other, so Brahms, for those of you who don't know, Brahms is the ultimate. This is not a Brahms sponsored ad.
We're not sponsored by Brahms.
This is actually Didier Ranch, brought to you by Didier Ranch, but we love Brahms too. Brahms is it's a fast food drive-in ice cream shop that also has a built-in grocery deli area.
Their own milk.
Yeah, not deli, it's just grocery. Their own milk, ice, You can get eggs, all that there.
Bread,
It's like 3 in 1. You get ice cream, you get burgers, fries, hot dogs, all that, and you can get a grocery store. You can knock out a lot of things in one trip to Brahms.
And you know, if you want a burger that is even better than a Brahms burger, you should get a Didier Ranch steak burger.
The steak burgers.
Throw one of them bad boys on the grill.
Because what makes a steak burger a steak burger?
Because it has better cuts of meat that make up
the ground beef.
The ground beef.
So, for a lot of people who don't know, and we'll make a bunch of other videos about this outside of our conversation, steak burger is, for us, we only sell 4 other actual cuts of steak: ribeye, filet, New York strip, and top sirloin. All the other cuts, your flat irons, your chuck roast, your flanks, everything else goes into the ground beef, and it makes it steak burger. So it tastes better. We yield a way higher grade on it, and also we don't have it's not a super fatty cut either because there's such good quality meat in there. Ours are 85-15. I like the balance there. You can get it too lean and it makes it not that great, but it's also not so fatty because you said the other day you didn't even have to drain it.
No.
And
I fried up. I broke it up. I fried it up, and I didn't even have to drain it.
Oof.
Nothing.
That's the best.
Oh,
I even like
awesome.
when there's just a little bit of grease and kind of like dip the bread or like tacos and kind of
in there.
But
I made quesadillas with mine. They were good.
So this was kind of like a part of like we want to talk to you about food. Number one, talk to you why we're doing Didier Ranch now, and then also just tell you all about like why we love it because it's such a huge part of humans of what we do. But it's because God provided it for us.
Yeah, God wants you to enjoy your food.
Yeah, not overindulge though. That is
gluttony.
It's one of the 7 deadly sins.
Yeah,
and so. That the thing is though, it's like he gave this to us, so like even when you take a bite of anything, especially when you take a bite of Didier Ranch, like savor it because it is a blessing from God. And every time I eat now, I think it's because I've been on the carnivore diet for so long. Yeah. It's like when I eat, I'm like, it tastes so good. I'm like, because you don't eat much, you know, like you eat, but you don't eat much because there's not carbs and all these other side dishes. It's literally meat, dairy, meat, cheese. Like anything that comes from a living animal.
From a living animal, yeah.
And it is honestly, it makes you really feel like you kind of like go back to.
You get to have other stuff. It makes it taste so much better.
I don't know yet. I still haven't had other stuff.
Well, when you do, I'm sure it'll taste. Or maybe, it won't be good. Yeah.
Like my stomach hurts. Yeah, I've had that happen before on other diets when I've done those. But honestly, God gave us food for a reason, and He gave us animals to provide that food for us. And to savor it and never take it for granted. Just like every breath you take, every day you wake up, it's a blessing. So just cherish those, embrace those, and the more you do that, the more life is just more enjoyable too.
Yeah, it's going to be worth it.
I think that's a great way to talk about food.
Yeah, then welcome to our food podcast.
Welcome to our food talk.
I'm getting a little hungry.
Now I'm getting hungry. See, my stomach's gurgling. But
I have to go thaw out some.
They're very lucky.
Beef.
They're very lucky though. This could have been like an hour-long conversation, but Connor, we did not want to do that to him. Make him edit an hour-long conversation. Yeah. But also, like I love food. Ultimately, because food is a happy thing. It's a very emotional thing for a lot of people, but it's a spiritual thing.
It really is. Yeah, you can definitely get a lot out of it.
Well, we're gonna go make some. You're gonna go pick up some Didier Ranch.
Yeah, I'm gonna be making. I'm gonna make fried steak tonight.
I'm gonna make some ground steak tonight. Yeah. Eat that up.
On your carnivore diet.
Yes. All right. Well, check out Didier Ranch. We'll probably put links below if you all want to do that. But honestly, if you want to read that part of the Bible, we're at in Genesis.
Genesis chapter 9.
Genesis chapter 9. Check out where God talks about why He provided what He did to us, and it's honestly a better understanding of why the world is how it is.
Yeah.
All right.
It's pretty simple.
It's that simple.
All right. We all have a great week.
And God bless y'all.